Hey, good morning to everybody. Happy Wednesday. It's Daryl here. It's bright and freaking early. It's 3:30 a.m. here in Connecticut on the East Coast. Okay, I've been hesitant to do this particular video. I've been thinking about doing it for months now. But again, I'm going to tell you guys again, this is the God's honest truth. I've never told another living soul this story. Not even Audrey, not even my family, nobody. But I've gone over it today, and I think it's time I talk about it. Expose our criminal justice system for what it is. All right, what am I talking about? There's a story right down below. It's from Jezebel. It's from Louisiana. Okay, it's going to be right on top. It's a quick read. It's only 14 hours old. It just says Louisiana. It doesn't, I don't believe it names a city, so it's led me to believe that it's probably the Louisiana DEA kind of. We have a drug enforcement team here in Connecticut that works statewide narcotics task force, it's called, which I became familiar with back when I was using. But it's a story about the very first line says, "We use this addict as an informant just like we did a million times before." And this is the story that I want to talk about. Police do not have getting rid of the drug problem or helping addicts. Really getting to the bottom of the drug problem. Most policemen do not. It's just about arrests. It's just about getting them noticed, getting higher up. And it's not about really solving the drug problem. If it was, they would help the addict. Okay, so there's a story right down below. And the main headline says, police used this woman as an informant. She was, I gotta watch the words I use. She was brutally assaulted by her dealer. I can't even begin to describe it. You'll have to read the article. And not only that, and police did nothing. She was wearing a wire, but it was just a recording device. So it wasn't feeding back what was going on in real time. So not only was she brutally assaulted after they sent her in to this dealer, but they arrested her for possession of paraphernalia, which is a bull charge to begin with, a couple weeks later. And these cops kind of bragged, well, we used her just like we use all the other addict informants, just disposable, throwaway trash to get, a means to an end. They are not about the majority of police. I'm sure there's good police out there. Every policeman, there's one right here in this building, seems like a good guy. And every time I tell a policeman my story, they're like, good for you, fantastic, great. You can see they're happy. They're happy that somebody got out of it. Somebody actually, somebody like me actually got away from heroin and crack and all that stuff. But when you look at the way they perform their jobs, a lot of times it is not conducive to helping addicts or even stopping the drug problem. It's just about getting arrests and getting them higher up in the hierarchy of the police system. Okay, so this story's right down below. So I want to tell you my own story. And I've wondered about this for the longest time. I'm going to tell you guys now, because it's got a feel of being a snitch. All right, let me start at the very beginning. Back about 20 years ago, I was going to buy in a busy drugstore parking lot right around noon. And I met my dealer. And I was leaning in the passenger side window. The dealer was sitting in the driver's seat. And I said, let me check it out. It was crack cocaine. I had it in my hands, I think it was about $60 worth. And I was looking at it, and I saw a Ford, a big passenger. It was an LTD. Came flying up from across the supermarket, across the street. And I thought it was other people I knew, other people coming to meet this guy. So I smiled, hey. Then I see the 4 doors all pop open. And it's undercover police. They were watching this deal. Right at that moment, I dropped everything in my hands. He's already got my money. I dropped what I had in my hands into his car. He just slammed on the gas and did donuts in the parking lot while the police chased him around the parking lot on foot. Almost, I thought he was going to hit my car or people. He had no concern. He took the police on a chase. I was put in a felony position on the ground in the middle of this parking lot and arrested for attempting to possess. First time I'd ever been arrested. All right. So they ended up, when I was down at the station, they said, well, if you work with us, this is why addicts, you can't trust addicts. This is why you see like the La Casa Nostra, the mafia, why they don't deal with drugs supposedly. Or if you watch something like New Jack City, when you see, nothing good happens to the dealer who starts using his own stash. You can't trust an addict. And this is the reason why. When you are addicted, from the minute you wake up, from the second you become conscious to the second you lose consciousness whenever you go to sleep, all you're thinking, and I am sincere about this, all you think about is how you're going to get money and how you're going to get more drugs. How you're going to get money, how you're going to get more drugs. And, you don't smell the air. You don't see the seasons pass. You don't see the deaths in your family, the birthdays. You don't see any of that. It's just this single-mindedness, this slave mentality to this drug. And you understand why I'm so happy every day now. Okay, so I tell them, so I'm not going to wear a wire. I won't do that, because, and it's not because, honestly, at the time, if I remember when I was standing in that police station, it wasn't because the whole stitches get snitches and it's uncool to snitch. It was because of my own personal interest. I didn't want to give up the guys that I get my stuff from. Where would I go? I wouldn't, if I went to these projects. I couldn't go to these projects after I did this. If I worked for them, I'd be labeled, and I wouldn't. This is why you see, if you ever wondered why addicts will steal from everybody and anybody, except for their dealers. Their dealers, they have this bond with, and some of you probably wondered that. And this is it. You can't break where your lifeline is connected to. And they said, okay, so you just got to go do what you usually do. That's all, and we'll be watching from somewhere else and you won't even know. You just do what you usually do and we'll pay you too. And you'll get off on this charge. So months went by and I kept getting the case continued. I said I'd do it. I said, okay, just because I was terrified of going to jail. As a heroin addict, you can't go to jail. You go, here in Connecticut, they don't give you anything. They just throw you in there as a heroin addict. And you lie in a cell and mess yourself and get sick and don't sleep for days. Jail's bad enough, but going into jail and withdrawing is one of the rings of hell. And I was terrified of this. So I was, willing to do anything to get out of this. So months went by. And finally a day came when I just couldn't get any money. So I called the police. I said, all right, because they were going to pay me. They were going to pay me to go get it. And then pay me money after, my own money, so I'd have money. I met them behind a bank. There were two undercover narcotics policemen there. And one of the first weird thing is they searched me. When I got there, they patted me down from head to toe. And there's more. Now, they didn't search me when I came back, though, which is weird. They patted me down head to toe, and I got the feeling it felt like they were looking for. It wasn't for weapons they were looking for. Like they were wondering if I was wired. That's what I thought at the time. And they gave me $60. They told me to go make a buy, and somebody would be watching. I didn't even want to know, so I wasn't wired or anything. So I just left the parking lot, and I noticed they didn't follow me. So I was nervous. Now this is where I had come up with this idea. There's the main projects where I was supposed to go. And then next to it, there was condominiums, kind of like more upper scale. And I used to go to both. When I couldn't get something in one, I'd go to the other. And I remembered that in this condominium, there's storage lockers in the bottom. And you go in, the dealers had this routine where they'd have people go in through one door, into the hallway, down into the storage rooms, go through the fire door in those storage rooms, come up in another part of the building, and then go to the apartment. So people outside would have no idea which apartment they're going into. So I was like, I could. They think I'm. So I thought I was going to get in trouble for this. So I ended up going through this whole routine. So I'm like, there's no way anybody watching could know what apartment I went into. I get what I needed to get. It was $60 in crack. I went back. And I thought I was going to get screwed. I thought they were going to take me to jail right there because I kind of broke the deal. I didn't go where they wanted me to go. So I thought whoever was watching must have just radioed them. They'd know as soon as I got back there. So I started saying, as soon as I got back, I said, well, nobody was out where I was supposed to go. And the guy put his hand out. He says, but you succeeded. Right? So, I said, yeah, and I took the stuff out, and I never ended up saying anything about going to the other apartments, and neither did they, which made me think, like, how they obviously didn't follow me. They didn't beat me there after I left first, then beat me back, when I came back. And if they never mentioned that I went to the other apartments, which I wasn't supposed to do. But even stranger than that, when I left that bank parking lot, I pulled over to call my dealer because they had paid me $60. And they didn't search me when I left. They searched me when I got there. I gave them the drugs when I got back. And they didn't even search me when I left. So I could have bought other stuff there that I never gave them. Kind of weird. So I pull over right across the street to hurry up and call my dealer to make my deal now. To use the $60 they paid me. And I see them leave the bank parking lot in their undercover police car. And we're right on the edge of the city. But not even a mile away is the city limits, where it becomes another town and kind of the suburbs. And the police station's in that direction. There's nothing but the suburbs and the town line in this direction. And they pull out and they go that way. And so I just made a buy. I gave them the drugs. And they're not going to the police station. It's like 7 o'clock at night, 8 o'clock at night. Or it was later than that, probably. They're going towards the suburbs, towards the town line. And this is the only time I did that. And I ended up deciding to take my chances and go to court. Turns out, this attempt to possess, that I didn't have any money. I didn't have any drugs on me. It was kind of a trumped up charge. I ended up only doing a week of community service, picking up garbage. I could have been facing 7 years in jail. That's what they told me. I ended up doing a week community service by just going to court myself and telling the truth. The judge asked me, what about how much drugs, how much money were you caught with? And the prosecutor says, the judge asked, was he caught with the drugs and money? And the prosecutor said, yeah. And I raised my hand. And I said, no, I wasn't caught with anything. And the judge says, is that right? Yes, the prosecutor. The prosecutor says, yeah, well, I guess there was some misinformation here. No, he wasn't. The judge says, 1 week of community service. And nolly the charges. So the charges were dropped. I was being used by these police. And I have my doubts what these police did with this stuff. This is all 100% true. I never told anybody this. I ended up kind of screwing over the police, really. So this is kind of why I wasn't proud of agreeing to work with them in the first place until I came up with this idea that I could kind of screw them over and go to the condominiums next door. So there's no way they could catch who I was going to. And I thought as a last ditch effort, if I had no money, I would use this plan to get money from the police. This is the crazy way addicts think. And I ended up doing it, and they never even brought that up. There was no way that what I did was admissible in any case in any court, because there's no way they knew what apartment I ever went to. And then I found out later that the drug dealers knew about police doing this, and that's how they came up with this whole condominium and this route through the storage lockers. I didn't tell the dealers that, I was one of those people that had agreed to this, but, they kind of just laughed that the police went along with this. They had no idea that Anyway, you got to treat the addict, and police are just a lot of police just use these addicts like throwaway tools to go up higher in the chain, to get bigger arrests, to get notoriety, and to gain rank. It's not about solving the drug problem. It's not about helping the addict. It's about their own benefit, most of them. All right, I've run long. You guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it made sense. I kind of had to rush through it. Have a great Wednesday.